If you stop, everyone else is going to catch up. So no, it's never like that. It's always a challenge.
Any learnings from today for tomorrow?
Sorry, what was that?
Any learnings from today for tomorrow?
Yeah, I guess the difference in fuel from that full course yellow. I think something that we weren't really expecting. But otherwise, to be honest, we've prepared in terms of a long run.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome along the GT500 main race. It's John Hindhaugh in the Radio Show Limited network booth. Grid is being set up even as we speak for the 2-hour race. Note straight away that the Biela Racing team have been demoted down to 19th position for the number 5 racing team, Euronics. It's VRS Coanda Sim Sport, number 80 on pole position. This was from the quali race yesterday, and it's Coanda and BS competition on the first 2 rows of the grid. Then Marla and Urano. ADAC SimRacing, the Swiss Ferrari team, Phoenix Esports Red, then Yas Heats and Esports on row 5. 6 is Racewerk and Raleigh Racing. Heusingfeld 148, really good run through the pack yesterday. They'll start P13 with Fire Sim Sport, then Phoenix Green and Nürburgring Esports powered by Ringversiert Sim Racing. Then Williams Esports and BMW Team GP had a horrible qualifier yesterday. The 55 car caught in an early accident. Then Biela down in 19th position with Josh Thompson. With Josh Thompson in the BMW. Biela Racing Team Euronics in 19. So that grid not actually quite correct after the demotion. Deutsche Payment at Race Union in P20. Then at Sim Racing Academy 21. WS Esports in 22. 23, the talent development, T3 Esports, Lamborghini, 2 Digital Motorsports in P24. Sherbert Motorsport Esport in position 25. RC Helton in 26. And 27, RN Vision STS Sim Racing Team. So that's how they will line up. It will be on the front row, the Rogers and Barneveld battle, which I'm looking forward to see. So let's take a look at what we've got coming for you in the next 2 hours or thereabouts. 56 laps or 120 minutes. It is game time is now, is the daytime. Here on the 17th of September on the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit, which is the 16 corners, just over 4 kilometres around, 2.5, nearly 3 miles of the track. It's been a very interesting warm-up. Been watching the times coming through, and VRS, BS competition, the 2 teams at the front of the field have been very consistent indeed at the front of the grid. So at the moment, although everything's on dynamic, the weather is good. Mostly cloudy, we're being told, for the weather. Track temperature 19 Celsius, that's good for the tyres. 35% humidity, 18 degrees in the air, 5 kilometres around this version of the track, which is just over 3 miles. My apologies, I shortened it up a little bit, but that's because I cheat and I know shortcuts. So the sprint race yesterday set the grid, and it was highly fought and competitive yesterday. Thoroughly enjoyed that one. We're in this GT500, it is all GT3 cars, and represented Porsche, BMW, Audi, Ferrari, Lamborghini, the best of the Lamborghini T3 Esports number 71 car in 11th position. And we will have pit stops with multiple drivers, and there are incident limits as well. We'll keep you abreast of those as race control tells me about them here into the broadcast centre here for Radio Show Limited. Great to be back with you again, and thank you for joining me and the team over the weekend. What a fantastic job it's been by everybody involved in the ADAC SimRacing Expo, presented by Coanda at the Nürburgring this weekend, whilst the 1000k was going on as well. Often hear some of the car noise in the background. Very envious that I couldn't look at some of the young timers going around there. That's very much my cup of tea in terms of racing nowadays, the older cars. And it has been absolutely a fantastic event, and all of our exhibitors, thank you very much indeed for being with us this weekend. And a special thank you to everyone at Nürburgring TV and all of the techs involved in putting our races together. Always a pleasure to work with our colleagues at Nürburgring TV, which we do on a regular basis for both virtual and the real world, particularly to my coords Marina and Michael, who have ensured we've had a steady stream of information here in the Global Broadcast Centre. It's a huge team effort to put something like this together. Just waiting for the cars to roll on the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit for their warm-up lap. It will be a rolling start. Got a couple of minutes to go. So the key points here will be tyre preservation and keeping the car undamaged. We're on the iRacing platform, of course, and can't always see the extent of the damage, but as you know, to your cost, I am sure, if you are familiar with the sim, the key to having a good race is absolutely to keep the car in as straight a condition as possible, because even if we can't see it, the likelihood is that it is going to cost you performance, and that is a real issue in these longer races. We saw some really good tactical pit stops and strategic moves being made in the short 24-lap race yesterday. We're basically doubling that and a wee bit more with 56 laps or 2 hours to go in this race, and then we'll crown our champions with some interviews at the end of the race. Cars just lining up on the timing screen. See everybody getting together and logging in. We have the pace car to lead them around. So just recapping, VRS Coanda were first and second qualifiers in the sprint race yesterday, which set this grid for the long race. They were split ultimately by the BS competition, the Bureau Sud competition, BMW. And well, that will start on the outside the front row. So 80 from 91, Porsche from BMW. Second row, 18 from 89. Guess what? Porsche from BMW. The cars are rolling now, by the way. Then the Marla Racing Team, BMW, is alongside alongside the bright red Urano Esports, number 90. Now that car did get involved in an incident early on and caused a little bit of a kerfuffle. So just waiting for the cars to roll. In fact, there they are, coming across the start line now. And behind the safety car, which is the Porsche, right at the front. So the Coanda cars are the blue and orange machines. Two Bureau Sud cars. Guess what? The blue one's got the blue trim on the left-hand side. The red one has the red trim on the outside. Just a little bit overcast here. Talking to Nick Damon yesterday, my co-commentator, about the tactics on this warm-up lap, and there's really very much a split thought about what is the right thing to do. That overcast is really going to affect the track temperature, and that will have an effect. Up at the top right-hand side of the windscreens, the position of the cars, so keep an eye on that as we go through the race. VRS Coanda Porsches resplendent in their very distinctive livery, and there's the pole sitting car. Just waiting for the confirmation of the starting drivers here. I think for Coanda, well, we won't guess at the moment. We'll wait until we get the nod. Some big names out there. You will certainly recognise Sami Mäki-Trogans with Josh Thompson. She will talk about those guys later on. Sami Mäki, who's been doing some real world driving as well. At the front, VRS Coanda Sim Sport with the inside line in the first corner, positions 1 and 3. Got to wonder to yourself, haven't you, if there has been a wee bit of team tactics discussed there, and whether it might be two Porsches, if they can, get side by side for this ADAC GT500 feature race. 2 hours, pit stops to come. Down to the far end of the circuit, now starting to climb up, dropping down towards the Avambogen, and then so out of, well, it's been called a number of things down through the years. The Bilstein curve in the background, through to the Vidal chicane and the Coca-Cola curve to finish the lap. Beautiful. Race director will be happy about this. It will be 56 laps to go when we go green. Fabulous sight with the headlights all on the GT3 cars for this GT500 ADAC feature race as part of the ADAC 2021 SimRacing Expo at the Nürburgring, presented by Coanda. Now, when do you press the right-hand pedal? Two Coanda cars on driver's right, nearest the pit wall. Watch the Marla car in behind as well. That's the green and white number 36 BMW. 1 or 2 out of line there, sitting slightly further back. That was the Yaz Heat car, BMW. Porsches versus BMW at the front of the field. First Audi is the Urano Sports number 90, the red car that you can probably see about 3 or 4 rows back, 4 or 5 rows back. This is a very long way, almost to the line now, and there we go, and the two Coanda cars go from the inside. That was a nice coordinated manoeuvre, but Burosud, the BS blue car, trying to get across, but it's going to be the Coanda cars, I think, that do get that first and second position. Brilliant stuff. They could not have choreographed that better, but here comes Burosud down the inside. Barneveld looking up the inside in the 91 car. Through to turns 4 and 5. Immediately starting to drop downhill. Here comes the number 71. That's the one of 2 Lamborghinis, the T3 Esports. That's the Ackerman, or the Ackerman driven car. The number 71 car trying to make a few places further back down the field, and off in a big way. The cones have been scattered as well at the top of the hill. And who's that dropping all the way to the back? I think it was one of the Ferraris that was involved in that. And the Biela Racing Team Euronics car, which had had a 8th place grid penalty and was right mired in the middle of the pack there. And that was the car that was spinning off, but I'm sure there was a Ferrari involved in that as well. And there's more contact going up the hill towards the Schumacher S's. I think I saw someone spear off to the right-hand side. Yes, I did. That was the 12th position car. See that? There's all kinds of damage further back. The 33 in trouble as well further back down the field. So there's been contact in the pack. You could almost guess that that was going to happen. The two Coanda cars have got their job done. First and second across the line. Rogers from Østgaard. Marler Racing Team. Did I or did I not say watch out for that green and white BMW? Slots into third position ahead of the two SBS competition cars, Barneveld and Kesselhout. Then it's Nasa, Hochstadter for Urano and Phoenix. Let's see if we can work out what was going on farther back down the field. It's number 83 ADAC SimRacing car. 83, that was the car that we saw after the Schumacher S's, and that was just on their own. That was the Andreas Fink car that went around. That was just cool tyres. And a huge amount of tyre smoke. So first, second and third, just breaking away maybe a little bit. Then the two BS competition cars. Lugano, a bit further back, 72 is Team Racework Red. It's the Anschlag driven machine. The number 72 is the Porsche from Racework. 10th position for that car in a great scrap as well. See the variety at the front of the field. Two Porsches, three BMWs, two Audis, a BMW, a Lamborghini and another BMW in your top 10. Via Sim Sport number 27 with the Racework car right up the tailpipes, and in behind them that's the Heusingfeld car, isn't it? Yes, it is. Heusingfeld in 12th position, doing a very good job indeed in the sprint race yesterday. They did not qualify where they wanted to. Heusingfeld then has made up a position from their grid start here. I'm fairly certain they were down in the 20s when we started yesterday. Used the early full course yellow and the pit stop strategy very nicely indeed to get through. So can we dare settle down for a moment? The battle for second position, Østgaard, Biko, Barneveld, Kesselhout in very close proximity at the moment. Two Bureau Sud zebra stripe cars, blue from red. And you'll see that the stripes over the centre of the car and the stripes themselves follow that. Now, problem for the Swiss ADAC SimRacing Ferrari, just a little touch with one of the Porsches, and that's dropped them way back down, and that I think will be some damage as well. So the 126 has dropped, the 159, excuse me, and that's the Amosa driven car down into 26th position. SimRacing Academy Porsche sitting in 27th behind them, and still the Bela Racing team trying to recover as well from that penalty that put them down the grid by 8 positions, and then that early incident at turn 4 on the, it was turn 5 and 6, wasn't it, the first lap around. Now let's see how the Phoenix guys are doing, sitting in 14th position at the moment. The Esports green number 15 car with BMW Team GB behind them. They're on a real recovery drive after yesterday's disaster at turn 1, lap 1. The car was badly damaged. They tried to pull up through the field, but they are now in 15th position. Very striking livery from BMW Team GB with the Union flag emblazoned on the rearward part of the car. This point of the sim and this race, really just got to get yourself into the groove. You're not going to win the race here, but you can easily lose it. Down the inside, Set up the wheel of that car, I think. Yes, it is. BMW. So heads down the inside and makes the position and immediately clears off, and followed through by the Deutsche Payment by Race Union car, Fabian Bourdin in the 87. So Josh Thompson paired with Sami Matti-Trogen for the BMW GP team, and Josh then making the pass. So a position made up to 14th. 15th Deutsche Payment Race Union following through there, and another one of the BMWs, Florian Bourdin with Marvin Otterbach driving together today. And again, here's the other question: when will we have a driver change? Will it be every stop? Will it be a double stint, a single stint? I think these cars should be able to do getting on for half the race if it's full tanks. I didn't see in the race facts was anything about the fuel level. So now settling in. Nice to see it. Front of the field, what's the lap times like? 55s at the front of the field in clear air by the two VRS Commander SimSports cars. Tommy Ostgaard in second position has dropped about a second away from his teammate, maybe a little bit more. Early doors here. Fuel limited to 80%, I'm being told. Okay, that's interesting. Thank you, Marina, for passing that through. So that will have an effect, obviously, on the tactics. We see that WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca for IMSA last weekend, calling the main race there on the Sunday afternoon into the evening California time, and that is a circuit where actually the tyre life is more important than how much fuel you've got in your tank, and that is really what dictates the stint lengths. There will be an element of tyre management here as well. Cars with just 80% of their fuel load. 11th and 12th having a battle at the moment. Heusingfeld 148 in 11th position. Listed as Hartenberg driving the Heusingfeld car. And the position changing there as through goes the 50. Williams Esports, next time in that number 50 car, sharing that with Moreno Starica. Now the battle for second position is back on again. VRS versus Mahler, Porsche versus BMW, classic there immediately. Still over 50 laps to go. Flat 6 Porsche barking that almost 4.2 litre engine. That's as big as that block can go. Talked to the Porsche engineers at Le Mans when they introduced that engine for the RSR 19. I said, why is it 4192 or something like that, and not actually exactly 4.2 or 1.199 or whatever it is, to keep it under the limit? There's some description. I didn't think there was anything in the regulations. He said to me, that is absolutely the biggest we can make the cylinder bores. It will not go any further, certainly not reliably anyway. And I looked at him and went, no, not 1 cubic centimetre more. That's where it needs to be. The biggest flat 6 that they've ever produced. Normally aspirated, of course. Porsche and Audi preferring for their GT3 race cars to stay away from forced induction, turbocharging or supercharging. Let's go back to Phoenix Racing Esports red, which confusingly is the dark grey with the highlighter yellow on it. And that is the battle for 7th position, with the Yas Heat car sitting in behind with that rather fetching teal blue. It's Fabian Hochstadter who's driving the Esports Racing red car at the moment. About 8 seconds away from the leaders, but he's rather busy. The Yas Heat machine behind him. There. At the moment, just dropping away a little bit from the Milano Sports red Audi, which is almost on the back of the 2 BS competition cars. So now we've got into a rhythm. In fact, he's on the back. He's on the back now. So that's Louis Larser. And we've got now second Dan. The RS train now. We don't have the RS, of course, but all in a slipstream train. Up with the Schumacher S. And nice and smoothly through it. Really notice how balanced these cars are. Can use a little bit of the curbs. Now to the Bilstein corner at the top of the hill. That V10 engine humming away gently in the background, if only. Magnificent. Down through the gearbox for the Vidal chicane. Using the tighter version. There is a slightly more open version that we have been using in some of our events as well. So this is P2 all the way down to 6th. And Tommy Ostergaard then leads them across the line in this battle. His teammate now 4 seconds up the road. So the 2 Coanda cars doing nicely. Thank you very much indeed. Now, see how difficult it is to pass here. And of course, what you don't want to do is get incident points, or more importantly, I think here, all of these drivers very good indeed. I think it'll be damage, because even small damage here, GT3 in esports as well as in full metal racing, balance of performance that allows very different cars that are coming from different philosophies. Porsche versus BMW versus Lamborghini versus Audi. Allows them to race together. That does mean that they are very small percentage gains and losses. Put a wheel off the track, slow down, get tyre issues, wrong setup, or a couple of clicks the wrong way, one way or the other, and you can really feel the difference, particularly when the drivers are at this level. You just don't see them making mistakes, particularly when the tyres are up to temperature and pressure. Into the Vidal chicane and through it, touring car line across the second part, the right-handed part. The right-hand tyres way over the curb and onto the great section behind. Oh, now just seeing that there's been no issues. That's Phoenix Red that's had a problem. And looked to have been off track there for Fabian Hochstadter. Just under 6,000 I rating for Fabian. That looked to be a wee mistake, and he's dropped down to 10th position. The question was, did he jump or was he pushed further up the field? In fact, a couple of cars ahead. It's Ross Woodford the Yas Heat Pro driver. He's teamed up with Andre Martin. Those two at the moment with that number 8 car sitting in 7th position. Should be Fire Sim Sport behind them. Nasser back and Mikael Gade. Mark Christensen also listed on that car. Some of the teams do have more than a couple of drivers, although I do wonder just how many they will use in this race. At the front of the field, the gap remains relatively static. Number 80 is the Porsche, Josh Rogers. And then this great battle for second on down. It's stalemate at the moment. Right, let's have one of our Huizinfeld replays. This is the super slow-mo through the Vidal chicane. Tell you what, they are really using the curb on the way in there. I have a smile on my face. I hope you can hear it in my voice because I'm enjoying this massively. The level of talent and concentration that's been shown here by all of our drivers. As I think many of you know, here at Radio Show Limited, the team behind Radio Le Mans and IMSA Radio, and indeed the English language coverage at the Nürburgring for NLS and Nürburgring in DSC 24 Hours. We've been involved in esports since before it was called esports, going back a long way. And it's been great to see the explosion of interest over the last couple of years. Together, along with iRacing, the IMSA Pro Series at the start of the lockdown in the US, which got some of the teams racing. BMW in particular taking that very seriously. Williams Esports team now with that BMW sitting in 11th position at the moment for the number 50. Stein behind the wheel of that car. Great to see the real world drivers as well getting involved at that stage, and many of them have stayed involved. Chill Blast BenQ sponsored car in that faded, that white and faded into blue livery. It's been a real pleasure being involved, including in the first series of the DNLS as well. Seeing just the momentum that esports has picked up. We're not going anywhere. We'll continue our commitment. The Radio Show Limited network of channels, our esports programme, the Simcast every Thursday at 8 o'clock UK on RS1. And a special show this week as well, following Midweek Motorsport on Wednesday at 10 o'clock UK. Matt Hunter and the team will be previewing the new Le Mans Virtual Series World Championship effectively. And they'll be talking about that on Wednesday. So our commitment to esports on all kinds of platforms continues. As Nick was saying yesterday, he was part of the team that covered World's Fastest Gamer. We were involved right at the very start in Nissan GT Academy as well. Force a World Championship as well as some of the VCO World Tour Blue Ribbon events. Looking after the broadcast for the top splits there, it's been thoroughly enjoyable. And I and the rest of the team, we marvel at the kind of skills. Good to see some of them being transferred to the real world as well, and not just from the drivers. Peter Mackay, well known in esports commentary, has jumped over into the real world. He was with us in our Full Metal Le Mans coverage this year and has done one or two other broadcasts for us, and rapidly becoming an important member of our Radio Show Limited team. Proof of proof were needed that the transferable skills that everybody has in the esports motor racing world could go one way or the other. As of course we've had to learn some new terminology. Nick Damon has had to explain to me all about netcode. But it has been a brilliant last couple of seasons, and delighted to say that the momentum is continuing with these race series and the great events such as we've had this weekend. A variety of cars as well. GT3s here in the ADAC GT500. Decent lead now, getting on for 4.5, nearly 5 seconds. It's been a brilliant drive by Tommy Osgaard so far in second. In fairness, the Marla Racing Team BMW in third place, the number 36 car for Alessandro Bico, has not been able to really put a concerted move onto the second place VRS Coanda Porsche. 91 in third is the first of the two Bureau Sud cars. That at the moment, well, we've got 4 drivers I think against that. Elias Sebenin, Nathan Lewis, Naz Kosh to come potentially there. It's Ryan Barneveld who for the moment at least is behind the wheel of that car. I'm very, very impressed at the consistency of line, braking point and pace of that second position Porsche for Tommy Osgaard. He's been under pressure. Lost second place briefly at the front at the start of the race, should I say. Bit of a battle early on. Remember, the Coanda cars were first and third, with the Bureau Sud second and fourth. Actually, the big winner there was the Marla Racing Team and Alessandro Bico, who came through from 5th on the grid to take up that third position, which he has held pretty much from the first couple of laps. So it'll all be about the fuel and tyre numbers now, with 44 minutes to go, 14 laps completed. This is where team members come into play through the Vilstein curve at the top of the hill and Van Bogen into Vidal chicane. Oh, big hit of the entry curve there by Tommy in the Coanda Porsche. I'm sorry, yeah, VRS Coanda Porsche. But holds on to his position. His teammates already turning into the first corner down the hill to what is properly called the Yokohama S, but everybody calls the Hout-Hook Mercedes Arena now. Turns 2, 3 and 4. All the way out to the edge of the red and white curb for that second place car. Real game of cat and mouse going on here for these positions at the front of the field. Last lap of 55.9 for the leader, ekes out a 10th or so. Next 4 or 5 cars all running in the 56 zeros or the 56 ones down to the Urana Esports number 90 machine. That's the red Audi. Again, 4 drivers there: Alexander Voss, Felix Krenbach, Julian Kesselhut, all named in that car. So that's interesting, because is the case. No, I'm reading the wrong line. Apologies. Nicholas Laubish, Daniel Scrivens, Daniel Pazdor, and Louis Naza. I was one line too far up. Even as I was saying that, I didn't believe myself. Track back a little bit through the field. The battle, again, these little battles just building up now. Huizingveld having been up just to the outskirts of the top 10, now in 13th position. So go back to the start. Great start by the Josh Rogers in the pole sitting car, and almost his teammate sliding through in the second there. It looked like the BS Competition Blue, Ryan Barnveld, was going to get through closest to the camera. Just look at the background there, the Marlin number 36 car, Alessandro Bico, just following down the pit wall side into the first corner of the first lap. Fantastic shot of the whole field coming down that tricky downhill brake. Anytime you're going downhill, it's tricky. Easy to lock up the right-hand front tyre there as well. As the road falls away, the closer you get to the apex, the more it falls away, actually. You can see people not getting right to the curb. So back to that battle now for Huizingveld in 13th. It's the Hartenberg and Fabian Borden battle. Deutsche Payment at Race Union is the BMW 87 with the red front clip on that, mostly white and black car. Heading down the hill. Now on the recovery drive, the Phoenix Racing Red number 10 car. That car with the spin earlier on. Board with Fabian Hochstadter. He looks at the back of 8th position Yas Heat. Yas Heat with Ryan Woodford behind the wheel of that car. Now side by side again, down into turn 1. That really does seem to be the favoured overtaking manoeuvre. Phoenix Racing with in behind them the Yas Heat car. That's 8th and 9th now. Woodford. Sorry, I called him Ryan earlier on. I don't know where I got that from. As through has gone Fabian Hochstadter. Now next target up the road is the number 27 5-Sim Sport car, rather sitting on its own at the moment in 7th position for the number 27. Will be the next target. P8. Still that 5-car train. And in there the T3 Esports Lamborghini in that wonderful urban camouflage colours. Moment it seems the car on the move in that wee train though is Dominic Stein in the Williams eSport number 50. Meantime, at the back of that train, here comes the BMW number 55. It's the Josh Thompson driven BMW Team GB car. Got a draft on the front straight. Will pull out to the left-hand side. Halfway there, 3/4 of the way there, and through into the first corner. Now has to do the little bit of the block pass and just trail the break through the middle of the corner there. So A, he didn't run too wide, and B, he didn't give Oliver Ackerman the opportunity to go back through in the 71 car. So the BMW gets ahead of the Lamborghini. Sven Domke and Jens Fiedler to get in that car. Check through one or two of the other cars that we perhaps haven't seen too much of. Our Envision STS SimRacing team didn't have a great start. The 33 car was way down early on, but now up to 15th position and only half a minute, you know, behind the leader. Sounds too bad. Vasilios Velasiotis is going to get in that car once Jan Marszalowski, who is driving it at the moment, has had his fill. WRC 5 and 6 finalist. Good all-round and versatile driver, likes the endurance races clearly. Now just has to get the head down after that early trouble and try and get into the rhythm, make up some positions. Further back, 18th and 19th. WS Racing Esports Porsche battle with Riley Sim Racing, 99 and 83. Andreas Fink in the Riley car, 99. Just sitting in behind for the moment, at least. That's Tilbeam. Very evenly matched, two similar cars. We got coming on to 20 laps now. Completed, so still 39 to go. 38.4 laps, my timing screen tells me to go for the leader. Still that overcast condition, keeping the track temperature down just a wee bit. And this battle at the bottom end of the top 20 between the two Porsches, actually behind them, because I think they're closing up a wee bit. Ah yes, now this is the Biela Racing Team Euronics. They've had a rotten start, demoted for track limits in that number 8 car. So started just inside the top 20. Then there was an incident early on. That Biela Racing number 5 with some work to do, I would say. Going through to the teams, as I say, at the bottom end, the top 20, the GT tyres sponsored by their sim racing machine. WSE Sports behind, that's 18th and 19th that we're talking about. Till them just leading that pair, and ahead of them is the Porsche number 888 of Nürburgring Esports, powered by Ringversiert Sim Racing. 888 car. Sitting in 17th position. And the team name so long on that I don't get a driver tag on the screen for that. So apologies. But it would be one of Patrick Jasinski, Dennis Schaefer, I think, down to drive that AAA car. Their full name, Ringversiert SimRacing in Zusammenarbeit mit der Nürburgring Esports GmbH. Try putting that onto the garage above your pit. .37 laps to go. Rather feel this is like the opening rounds of a heavyweight boxing match. A bit of sparring going on, 1 or 2 points being scored, but no knockout blows being landed at the moment. Team BMW GB side by side with Jas Heath through turns 3, coming towards turn 4. The GB car, if it can stay on the outside, should have the advantage for the next right-hander. Goes through. That's 10th position. So now next target for the 55 team, Josh Thompson. Further down the road, he's just going through the Dunlop hairpin at the moment. Josh then looking at who? That's Phoenix, isn't it? No, it's Williams Esports. Dominic Stipe, what am I talking about? Dominic Stipe in the 50. It's another BMW that he is chasing down. Looks to be dragging the Jas Heath car with him. Hasn't been able to put any real estate between them since the pass was made. But they are definitely catching the Dominic Stipe-driven Williams Esports number 50 in 9th. And it's Fabian Hochstadter for Phoenix in the Audi in 8th position, coming back through the field. The 2 leaders have just gone across the line, by the way. 5.5 seconds between the 2 VRS Commander SimSport Porsches. Tommy Ostgaard dropping a couple of tenths to his teammate last time around. And he still can't get much more than a second away from the Mahler Racing Team BMW, Alessandro Bico, in 3rd place in the 36. I get the feeling here that nobody's taking any undue chances with still somewhere over an hour of racing and a pit stop to go. Tim Huizenveld in 13th at the moment. In that Porsche. I think we've got to keep an eye on them because they really used the strategy nicely yesterday in the shorter race. And it played into their hands. They didn't get the best qualifying session. Well, we haven't seen the Schubert Motorsport Esport car yet, so let's put that right. With the white wheels on the number 19 BMW. That's 16th position for that car. Sitting in elegant isolation at the moment for René Penquit. Triple 8 is that green, black and white Porsche that I said yesterday sort of reminds me of the Black Swan colours. Haven't seen those racing for a little while. Although the team principal's back in Porsche Carrera Cup North America, presented by Visit Cayman Islands. Good to have him back after a nasty accident at, where was that? Bathurst, of course, wasn't it, when we had that fire? The Liquid Molly Bathurst 12 hours. Tim Pappas, the driver I'm talking about there. Tim inextricably linked with Porsche, and good to have him back in the new 992 Carrera Cup, which is Carrera Cup now in the States, having swapped to Michelin tyres and got the new Type 992. Can't wait, by the way, for the next motorsport offering on the 992 body shape from Weissach. The Cup car, exceptionally quick, almost as quick as these GT3 cars. Contacts at Porsche refusing to be led as to whether it will be the which version it will be of the 992 that we see next as a motorsport prospect. I suspect it will be the GT3 category car. I know all the Porsches have GT3 in their names somewhere. I suspect it will be that car. Mind you, they've been rather busy turning out over 100 Cup cars. Oh, spin! As we were watching the Vila team Euronics number 5 car in the BMW, that's gone around, so the trials and tribulations of that number 5 continues. Now that was a very odd off, back end just spinning up and going around. Not entirely certain what all that was about. However, nothing hit. Expecting to see Kita in that car actually. Kevin Volk-Flaglik, Fabian Hochstadter and Daniel Longerich listed against the number 5 car. However, originally that was to be an Audi, of course, as well, which rather threw me out. I thought they may have even run the Audi yesterday. I could be wrong with that. I was too busy enjoying that sprint race. At the front of the field, it is still, for the moment at least, just under 6 seconds between the two VRS Coanda Sim Sport teammates. Rogers from Östergaard, Tommy in second place, has managed to get over a second gap to Alessandro Bico for Marla. I think that's the first time it's been 1 point something. And of course, I say that, it's just dropped back a little bit. Ryan Barneveld next up for BS competition. Top 6 made up by the competition Red and Arano Esports. So as you were, 10 seconds now between the first 6 cars, and that battle that saw such close racing from second down to 6th, just opening up a little bit with the Tommy Osgaard Porsche having made its bid for freedom there. So now the driver having to defend is Alessandro Bico. Another little battle pack further back down, 8th, 9th and 10th. Here's the Phoenix Racing Esports red car, grey and yellow. I keep saying that to remind myself as much as anybody else, with Fabian Hochstadter behind the wheel. Then it's Dominic Steib and BMW from the UK. Going along quite nicely for Josh Thompson. Now Lamborghini, 22 in the race, both from the T3 Esports. 71 is Oliver Ackerman, who's driving that at the moment. He is staring very much at the back of the Yas Heat number 8. Ross Woodford. Lambo maybe getting a little run down to Ad Van Bogen. Will they have a look down the inside? That's a bit half-hearted. However, discretion, the better part of valour, I would say there, for Oliver Ackerman. Closes up in the Coca-Cola curve with the Dorrance Hotel to driver's left there. Yes, many a time I've been walking up in the early morning by race engines getting fired up, and you know what? Don't mind it at all. Down to turn 1, Lambo not close enough. Bit of lift and course there, was there? From the Lambo. Sounded like a bit of overrun. Oh, this is brave. Into turn 2 and 3. But again, not quite there. Tell you what though, the Lamborghini is able to trace a tighter line through quite a lot of these corners. Not sure what that's doing to the tyre wear, or whether that is in fact a ploy by Ross Woodford. Go down to the bottom end of the top 20, 17th, 18th and 19th. Nürburgring Esports, Riley SimRacing, WS Esports. That is 888, 83 and 99. Sort of in a battle. Second to 2 of those. See, that's something down there. Yeah, 17, 18, 19. We might have lost somebody here. No. We've had a change of position, is what we've had. The 83's gone through, Riley SimRacing. So Andreas Fink has gone through on Till Babe. So that was a battle we were watching early on. Just looking at the windscreen numbers there, thinking, that can't possibly be right, because I know Till Babe's not in 20th, he's in 19th. So that was a change. I think ahead of Babe now. Yeah, and just a little bit further up the field, that's 11th and 12th place battle. Ackerman and Ross Woodford go across the line. Behind them, Heusingfeld, 148, Race Union with the Deutsche Payment car, Fabian Bourdin. Those two trying to close in. Not even at half distance lap, by the way, by some margin. So we've just coming down to about an hour. Team Phoenix in the Audi, the grey and yellow car, side by side. The Chill Blast BMW from Williams, Dominic Stadler with Hochstadter and Thompson sitting in behind there. Might be able to pick up the pieces of the BMW with the red, white and blue of the Union flag. Thompson looks to the inside at the Dunlop curve, the hairpin at the bottom of the hill, lowest point of the track. Just of course the Südschleife disappear off into the countryside. Parts of that circuit still able to be walked on and cycled. Can't even imagine what the full track was like when they, on a couple of occasions, ran the North Loop and the South Loop together. Gejebstrakke must have been an awesome event. The Grand Prix circuit, of course, home of the German Grand Prix in times past. Held it for a wee while, but always provides good racing on whatever version of it actually that anybody wants to use. We're using the long circuit all the way down to the Dunlop hairpin at the bottom of the hill and the slightly tighter version of the Vidal chicane, but there's a shorter circuit with another hairpin halfway down the hill. There's what Nick Damon was calling yesterday, I didn't really like this, the more relaxed final chicane, which is not so much of a braking point bit of a breathe on the brake and downshifting straight through. We've got pit stops. Schubert Motorsport have come in from the middle teens and the Esports powered by Ringversiert SimRacing machine. So bottom end of the top 20, pit stops starting to happen now with 30 laps to go, 28 laps completed. So the number 19 into the pits first. That was the first one that I noticed for Penquit. So now keep our eyes on who else comes in. They're dropping down outside the top 20 with this pit stop. I do get the note of how long they are stationary for how long they are stationary, sorry. Let's put that in proper English. And now we have to see where they come back out again. Oh, BS competition in. Barneveld has brought the competition blue car in. Now that is one of the top runners, so that is by far the highest running car that's just pitted. So that leaves the two VRS cars, the Marler Racing Team, the competition red car from BS in the first four. Urano Sports goes up into fifth. So here's the pit stops. Now this is where we've got to start keeping our wits about us and work out who's been in, who hasn't been in, how long Barneveld's in the pit lane, and whether there's a driver change there as well. Ackerman in for T3 Esports, Virus Sim Sports in, Marshall Kowski in for RN Vision, the STS Sim Racing team. So pit stops starting in earnest now. Coming to half distance in laps. So how will BS competition, Eurosud team, how will they play this? Will it be the next lap for Kesselhout or will they stay out? Fascinating stuff. Here's where the strategy comes in. They'll have talked about this beforehand. Now, let's see who's back out. BS competition are back out. Barneveld's still listed as the driver there. We're to get that confirmed. Spot on a minute in the lane with 36 seconds stopped. And the leader's in. The leaders, both the VRS cars are in to the pit lane. So, and following them in, Alessandro Bico as well for Marla. So top four now all in the pit lane. Does Dominic Stipe go through in the Williams Esports BMW? No, in the pit lane. Phoenix in. Thompson in. This is it. This is the big dash for the pit lane with round about half of the race still to go. So not much strategy here, basically just dividing the race up into two halves. 80% fuel, of course. Cars sitting on the pit lane, two VRS Commander cars easily spotted there. Fuel going in, tyres going on for pretty much everybody. Oh, that's a very quick stop. Quick stop indeed for the Beeler car. There, I think we're in the Euronics at Beeler car. I think they were just on the end of the lead lap there, and they will get out in front of the leaders, but the Eurosud red car has passed the two Porsches in the pit lane. So was that a bit of fuel saving that went on? Marler and BMW, oh, it's a touch! And the Eurosud blue and the Marler BMW's touch, and they've both gone off the track. So all that hard work in the pit lane has gone awry halfway through the race. GT500, the ADAC GT500, absolutely coming alive.
virtual.
Well, if you were watching carefully, you missed none of the action there as we went side by side with now 25 laps to go, 46 minutes, whichever comes the quickest, and a really big strategic turnaround there, even accounting for the fact that we had a little bit of contact coming out the pit lane by the Mahler and BS competition, Sud BMWs. It is BS competition who got the advantage, but Renault Esports have been in and out of the pits as well and are still scored in the lead in the red Audi number 90. BS competition in second with the 89 BMW, Porsche third with VRS 80, then Mahler Racing Team, then BS competition blue. There were the two cars that came together. Nasser across the line in the lead car. Top six made up by VRS Coanda Simsport. It was Tommy Osgaard whose car really lost out there. Came in second, went back out in sixth. Now, what you've got to ask yourself is, did everybody get enough fuel in to get to the end, or are we expecting a splash or some kind of tactical ploy before the end of the race? Because the pit stop for the 18 car was fully 14 seconds longer than everybody else. In fact, the two Porsches, fastest pit stop stationary, 36 seconds for Renault, for a pit lane time of just over 59 seconds. Everyone else about the mid-36s. BS competition, a minute in the pit lane, 102 for Mahler. Second of the competition, BS competition cars, and also a minute, but a minute 13 and a minute 14 for the two Coanda SimSport VRS cars. And that's what's cost them track position. So the question now is, with 24 laps to go, can they make it up on pace? Do you take the track position over running full rich to the end? Full speed to the end. It's a tough one, isn't it? It really is. So let's see if we can pick up the leader. There we are at the front of that little gaggle of cars. Within that, there's some lap cars. So the red Audi cresting the hill now is our leader. Second in that line is the second of the E3 Lamborghinis, and that's a lap down now, just outside the top 20. Then I reckon behind that, is that the Swiss team? Yeah, it is. It's 159. The ADAC SimRacing Schweiz. Swiss team, Hopswies. The pop. Having my wife's late mother, very proud Swiss. always have a cheer for the red and white flag of Switzerland. 143 right in the middle of that gap, SimRacing Academy, right in the middle of that group, should I say, coming through, and with faster cars around them. But look at the pace of these cars that are desperately trying to stay on the lead lap here. 143 Porsche down in 23rd position, and right behind it is the second of the VRS Coanda, the leading VRS Coanda SimSport Porsche now. That was the pole sitter. Third position now though for that Porsche, courtesy, as I said, of a much longer pit stop. So number 80, red Audi leads. BRS competition red, that's the zebra stripe red car, 89 in second. Then the Porsche from VRS, then the green and white Marla BMW number 36, then the blue BS competition BMW, then the second of the Coanda Porsches in sixth, then Firem SimSport, Williams Team GB ahead of Williams Esports now. So those two cars have swapped around as well, and they were on the track or in the pits. I have to say I did not see a battle in amongst that leading group for two lap cars into the Vidal chicane. You cannot get much closer than that. You could not have got a birthday card between those two there. The Ferrari and the Biela Racing Team Euronics BMW onto the front straight. Down towards the first corner, can the BMW pull out? Not close enough. Simple as that. The Coanda Porsche in third, stuck in this traffic. So now we've got the real essence of endurance racing. Traffic, and particularly in single class racing, as the Biela car goes down the inside of the Ferrari and takes that position. That's up to 21st, the Euronics car. Maybe just a little mistake by the Ferrari there as well, and that might like the Coanda Porsche come through with the Marla car lurking in the background as well. That's their third and fourth. The essence of endurance racing, and particularly this single category racing, is having to deal with traffic that is actually not much slower, if anything at all. Good driving by the IAS Swiss Ferrari, flashed the lights from the Marla BMW and dutifully steered across to the right hand side as they were coming down the hill to the Dunlop hairpin. It's one of the things that scares me rigid about real world racing with big fields of just one class like the Spa 24. There's hardly any performance difference, and everything has to happen between turn in and apex, and that's why you see such big accidents there. Really scares me, that race. And we're seeing it here played out perfectly well with cars that are BOP'd, of course, to make that exciting racing. But when you're working your way through traffic, having their own battles, doesn't matter whether it's a pro or a gentleman driver, the cars are so evenly matched. On a big track, you've really got to have 2 or 3 seconds pace advantage at a place like Spa to be able to get a pass made easily. Probably a little bit less here. Big slide by the number 55 BMW coming out the final Coca-Cola curb, just about stays on. There is an incident limit here, but I'm not seeing anything on the race control to say that anyone has been warned or pinged. That may come into play at the end of it. It won't. And why I'm saying that, these guys are too good for that. Good heavens, we did the Nürburgring 24 hours and people did at the front of the field, having to do 4-hour stints in the VCO series, the World Tour. People didn't get anywhere near the limited 24 hours, doing 4-hour stints during the middle of the night. Extraordinary levels of concentration and stamina by these drivers, so this is a mere sprint by comparison. So Urano Sports then leading from BS Competition Red. It's nearly 3 seconds then between those two. Coanda SimSport, the pole sitter, the Porsche that won the qualifying race yesterday in third from Mahler. BMW from BS Competition Blue, BMW from VRS Porsche in sixth. 11.5 seconds between the top six at the moment. Further back, 8th position, 21 seconds away from the lead. This battle between the two BMWs, the Team GB car, at the moment with the advantage. They're still listing their starting drivers there. So it's Dominic Steib chasing at the moment. Coming down to the last 20 laps next time around, or 37 minutes. This might go to minutes actually. At the pace we were possibly expecting. Yeah, my timing screen predicting just under 19 laps to go, so possibly get the full distance in. Just depends where the leaders are when the 2 hours is completed. Check in with some battles further down the field as the leaders have gone across the line again. But it was whatever happened in that pit stop sequence, the Urano Esports was in 6th position for that Audi before the stops. And has managed to turn that into a 3-second lead. So strategy absolutely spot on. If you are just joining us, hello everybody, where have you been? As our leader stretches away for Urano Esports, the number 90, the fetching black and red Audi R8. New version of the car in the real world is out with the reverse swan neck and that rear wing moved closer to the rear window. Saw it in competition at the Hankook 24 Hours of Barcelona a couple of weekends ago. The work done on the aerodynamics of that car as well. Strikingly different rear wing mounting when you see it. If you haven't already, go and look it up. Across the line then. An interesting weekend here at the Nürburgring for the 2021 ADAC SimRacing Expo, presented by Coanda, and it's been a pleasure to be a part of it. Thoroughly enjoyed it here in the Global Broadcast Centre. Even when we haven't been talking about the races, we've been watching some of the competitions and the videos. I love the idea of trying to do a Rubik's Cube while Johannes Stuck is drifting a Porsche 992 Cabriolet around a handling circuit. That made me laugh a lot as someone who's done a wee bit of driving with cameras in the car. Always very easy to get distracted and get something very wrong. If you don't believe me as to how much fun we've had in the past, go and look up ZF race reporter Tom Christensen Sebring. Try and find the long version if you can. Alan McNish dared me to see if I could make Tom Christensen, the man who has won Le Mans more time than anyone else, feel uncomfortable in an Audi. And he told me exactly how to do it. Induce understeer, Heidi, he says. Christensen hates other people driving, hates understeer. It's a few years ago now, but if you look that up, take 10 minutes out your day when we're finished here, get yourself a cup of coffee or something stronger, get the popcorn in. It was quite a lot of fun. Across the line again for the leader. That is the gap between first and second, the BS competition red. Curb cam at the Vidal chicane. The UV in the background. Our usual home, and we're at the Nürburgring. The second to top floor of that, what used to be called the Jaguar Lounge. Sit out the back of that, set my studio in there. Courtesy of our partners at Aston Martin. So 5th and 6th now. The number 18 VRS Coanda Porsche in 6th position, right on the tailpipes at the moment of BS Competition Blue. They had a much better pit stop than 5th actually, but with a bit of side-by-side action with the Marla Racing team, who were just in front of them, Alessandro Bico. It dropped them rather back into the clutches, but 14 seconds longer in the pits for the two Porsches really has given them a massive disadvantage. I mean, 12.5 seconds off the lead, Tommy Osgaard's car here, and spent 14 seconds longer in the pits than the car that leads. You do not have to be a nuclear physicist or have a degree in applied mathematics to work out that you just can't give that kind of real estate away. You're scrapping for 0.5 of a second here and there on the track and give 13 seconds away in the pits. Can't do it. So what was the reason for that in the pit lane for the two Porsches? Just checking some of the other Porsche times. They were all well over a minute. Well, yeah, okay, and that was the third stop, so they might not have had to put so much fuel in. There was a case in Full Metal Rail World Racing a few years ago, particularly GT4 racing, when the Cayman Club Sport first came out, that they were particularly difficult to fill with fuel, and it did take rather a longer time. Fuel fill in iRacing is a constant, or it should be. Of course, we have in Full Metal Racing here at the Nürburgring, the pumps on the pit lane are pistol grip action pumps that you would find at your local service station or maybe a supermarket petrol station, and so there are minimum stop times to try and even out the flow, because as good as everybody is here at the Nürburgring, there's no way you're going to get all those pumps down pit lane to pump exactly the same fuel flow. One pump to two pit stalls, sometimes for the DSC 24 hours, as many as 8 cars in the busy days in those single pits, so potentially one pump between 16 cars. It's wonderful to watch. I love the organisation of it. So still the battle for 5th and 6th rages on. We saw this in the first part of the race, where getting close to the back of the car is one thing, trying to find that extra little 0.5 or 0.75% that will get you through is very difficult indeed. Just hearing from Marina, thank you very much indeed, that Coanda changed left side tyres, so the working side tyres on the 80 and the 18 were changed. Now, we did see those cars go up on the jacks when they first came into the pit lane, but it was left-hand side only. Now, that is an absolute amount of time. Not allowed to fuel and tyre at the same time. And here's the pass for 5th position. So presumably everybody else left the tyres on that they started and therefore are trying to double stint. So this might yet come to the Coanda cars. But working side tyres only, 2 tyre stop, as our friends in Stock Car would say. Thank you, Marina, for passing that information on to me. I guessed as much that there had to be a different strategy. So everyone else that did those shorter runs through the pit lane was fuel only and will run the 4 tyres to the end. So this yet may come to the two Porsches. We know how quickly they can cover the ground, first and third in the qualifying race, first and second after the 1 lap qualifying sessions, or the traditional qualifying sessions. So that 0.6 on the top right hand side of the windscreen on the number 18 car will change to 05 next time around. So let's start looking at the last lap times. Oh yes, third position car, the VRS number 80, half a second quicker than second and 3/10 quicker than the leader last time around. So we've got a grandstand finish. Oh, I love this. What better way to finish up what's been a brilliant weekend. Proper Sunday afternoon action here. Never mind that the circuit and the cars are in virtual reality. It is proper racing, proper talent, proper dedication to the cause here. Virtual racing means real talent. That's the way we look at it. Big, wide run round the outside of the GT tyres sponsored Porsche. And further down at the moment, that's the Riley car, isn't it? The Fink-driven car down in 17th position. Just going a lap back there. Jas Heat, number 8 car, just ahead of Huizingveld, back down in 14th position. Now, what did they do? No, they must have gone without tyres as well. They were only in pit lane for about a minute, 37 seconds stationary. So now we need to keep a look on the lap times and the gaps between the leaders. So VRS in third, 5.5 seconds away from the leader. VRS in fifth now, coming Osgaard's car, 12.5 seconds away from the leader, but lapping at least a couple of tenths quicker than the cars. 56.1s for both of the Porsches, the VRS Commander cars. Oh, hello. Just the way I like it. This is why endurance racing keeps me excited. Oh, behind the wall. That is it's a AAA car, isn't it? That's gone behind the wall. The Nürburgring Esports car, is it? I think it was right over and off the track. It's the car that reminds me of the Tim Pappas Black Swan racing car. Confirmation on that for you in a moment. But that didn't look right at all. Euronics Baylor car off the lead lap now, sitting in behind the Mahler BMW. That Mahler racing team now 4th position. And exactly 3 seconds ahead of Tommy Osgaard's VRS Commander Sim Sport number 18 Porsche. 44 laps completed. Lapped cars now being part of the equation. Technical issue, I'm hearing, for the Schubert Motorsport car running Penquit's machine down in 24th position. That was the car that it was. That's why it's behind the wall. Thank you. So see that one back on the track. 14 to go in full laps. 24 minutes. Yeah, that's going to be close. So the Riley Sim Racing, the WS Racing Esports GT tyres car, the dealer car, a lap off the lead, but still having their own scrap there. And it's the WS car that's making time at the moment. That Porsche has gained. Now, here's another question, of course. Some of these cars that were off the lead lap, did they take tyres at their pit stops? And is that why they've got a bit of pace this time? Here's another pass for a position. This is for second. And that time has disappeared, courtesy of a second a lap. Better lap speed for the Commander Porsche. Kesselhut down to third, Rogers up into second. 5 seconds the gap between the leader and that Porsche that's just gone through into second, and plenty of laps and time to go. 2 tyre stop for the 2 VRS cars. They took the left-hand side tyres at the pit stop. Might have played a blinder. 13-second time deficit in the pit lane, but look at the pace. Look at the pace, already down to 4.5 seconds the lead, and that included on this lap a pass for position. Now where's the second of the VRS cars? That's my question. 56.4 last time around, so in traffic for Barneveld. Tommy Ostgaard, his next target. There he is, really clearing off. Nice, got through in 5th. That's just changed over, so it's Bico that he's changing down. Oscar changing down, chasing down Bico now. Alessandro Bico for the Marla car. And I said that was 3 seconds a little while ago, didn't I? Yes, so that's staying about the same for that 5th position Porsche. Really hammers the curbs going through. Overcast conditions. I wonder if the teams just thought that the track temperature meant they could stretch their tyres the full length of the race. Coanda, as a team, they didn't split the strategy, which is interesting. Both cars went for the extra time stationary in the pit lane and took left side tyres. And as we get closer to the end, how's that going to play out? You get a little bit of an imbalance when you've got the new tyres on one side at the start, but it will help you when you're leaning on the long right-hand corners here. The tyres that are under pressure are the left-hand tyres. Some pace in that Bila Euronics car as well, pressuring the Marla team car. That's not for position. Now what about the gap for the leads? It's almost down to 4 seconds already. It's almost a second gained in that last lap. Erano then leading in the Audi from the number 80 Coanda. Porsche in seconds. Just the way we like it. Intrigue, strategy, quality driving, great consistency. How few mistakes have we seen here? Count them probably on the fingers of one hand. There's been a little bit of hip and thigh, but that's about all. Haven't really had the elbows out. Under 4 seconds now. That red car, the darker red car in front of the number 80 at the bottom of the hill, that's the leader. And that's the gap. That's what just under 4 seconds looks like. Meantime, they are still looking at the Internecine BMW battle. Oh, and that's a change. Williams Esports, Dominic Stipe goes ahead of Thompson in the GB car with 12 to go. Are they struggling for tyres? They're both almost identical pit stop times, 36.3 and 36.4 at the box for a minute dead on the lane. At the front at the moment, Audi, Porsche, BMW. And just coming down to 4 seconds between the top two. Maximum of 11 laps to go for the leaders. Pressure is really on now. I mean, there's no choice now. You've rolled the strategic dice. There's nothing you can do. The driver has just got to try and make the tyres last. Be very, very consistent. Tell you what, that Audi doesn't want to turn in, does it? Down at the hairpin, even at the slow corner, didn't want to stop and turn in. Everybody talks about not being able to get grip when you're accelerating out of the corners when your tyres are starting to fall off performance-wise, but it really does affect every single part of the car in endurance racing. And if you look after your tyres early on in a stint, it pays massive performance dividends at the end, and it's no different in the esports world as it is in full metal racing. Just getting the car stopped and turned in, it all becomes a little bit more difficult, and dynamically the car feels like it doesn't want to do what you want it to do, and that costs lap times. 56.2 last time for our leader, 55.8 for the chasing Porsche in second. The dynamic lap difference, gap difference down to 4.1, 4.2 seconds. There will come a time, of course, and we don't know when that's going to be, when that performance difference with just the two tyres stop for VRS, because of course the right-hand side tyres have been on for 48 laps, exactly the same as the right-hand side tyres of the Urano Esports car. But it's the left-hand side tyres that have only got half the laps on them. Weisingfeld replay through the Schumacher S. Coming up the hill, having to get right onto the very edge of where the gravel is there. Let's quickly run through the top 8 as this gap is certainly coming down. Urano Esports leads by about 4 seconds from VRS Coanda number 80. BS Competition Red, the 89 BMW, is in third. Fourth, Marla Racing Team. Not being caught actually at the moment by Tommy Osgaard's VRS Porsche in second. In fifth, excuse me. Top 6, BS Competition Blue, the 91 car. Then the 27 Fire Sim Sport BMW, then the Williams eSport number 50, just ahead of the BMW GP. They've been having a great scrap. Top 10 made up by Phoenix eSport Red, Hochstadter behind the wheel of that car. And I've got to 11 because that's where the Lamborghini is, the T3 eSports Oliver Ackerman car in 11th position. So there has been some driver changes. So it is Daniel Pastor now behind the wheel, having taken over from Louis Nasser. So thanks very much, says Daniel. Louis, you've had the best of the tyres. Now all I've got to do is bring it home with the tyre performance falling away. Cheers, mate. And see him into the first corner. Well, I tell you what, it looked better at turn 1 than it did at the hairpin. Oh, little lock up by the Coanda car in second there, going into the first corner. And that's a right side front lock up. That's the unloaded tyre there. And those will be the worn tyres as well. So I wonder who's taking over that car. Get a look on the onboard. Josh Rogers, okay, Josh Rogers staying in that car. Jill de Jong listed on it as well. Thought it was Josh that started that car. Gentlemen, if I've got you the wrong way around, I apologise. But this a big run for this car, a big strategic ploy, taking the pain of 13 extra seconds stationary in the pit stop for the hope of extra performance. Came in out of the lead. It's under 4 seconds now, so you would say, wouldn't you, that that has paid off? Although in fairness, the Urano Esports car was in 6th at the pit stop, start of the pit stop cycle, stayed out very long indeed with its first driver on board, Louis Nasser. Fascinating how the strategy is playing out. And the other VRS car, which was started by Tommy Osgaard, is not really making ground. 10th here, half a 10th there. And the Marla Racing car that was started by Alessandro Pico. I reckon this lead battle is still on, by the way. Another couple of tenths taken out of the lead last time around. It's under 4 seconds now. It might not be enough though. Oh, another change around. Williams eSport and BMW Team GP battle in behind. It's one of the lap cars, isn't it? The GT Porsche, GT Tyres Porsche. It's the Riley SimRacing car that they're trying to get around. These two battling at the bottom end of the top 10 for 8th and 9th. And there's the change again. No, not quite. Down to turn 1. Almost display driving, but I'll tell you this, they must be now on the ragged edge of adhesion with those tyres that have been on since the start of the race. I've seen a lot of the Fire Sim Sport car. Lovely livery on that car. The dark colour fading into the red and then back into the dark colour at the rear. 7th position at the moment, trying to chase down the BS Competition Blue number 91 BMW. Have the calculations been done correctly at the front of the field? Into the business end of our feature race of the weekend, the ADAC GT500 here at the ADAC SimRacing Expo at the Nürburgring for 2021. Powered by Kawana, presented by Kawana, and it's been a cracker. John Hindhoff, absolutely loving this. Glad you can be with us. Different strategies have played out. We've had the qualifying, we've had the sprint to set the grid for this race, which started some hour and 50 minutes or thereabouts ago. And now this strategic as well as driving performance battle has been played out. And it's 2.5 seconds. It's 2.5 seconds between VRS and Urano. Oh my goodness. Are the tyres on the lead car going to drop off a cliff? Is that performance going away? You see, he's had to fight his way through traffic as well in that Urano Esports car. And going offline, difficult. Really feel for the guys at front, particularly the second driver who took that on. Daniel Pasto took it over from Nasa because he has not had the new tyre advantage and the performance advantage. He's just surviving out there. Here comes the second place driver. Got to have been given the hurry up here. 55.7 last time around, 57.1 for the leader. And that's why the lead is disappearing through the traffic. Much easier for the VRS Coanda Sim Sport car to be able to pick and choose the lines. The second car not getting such a good run. But this was the car that started on pole for the sprint qualifying, won the sprint qualifying. And now with just under 10 minutes on the clock or 7 laps to go, first and second are on the front straight together. And if you think I sound excited, it's because I am. Overcast conditions have kept the track temperatures down to manageable levels. Teams have gambled on going all the way without a change of tyres. Needed a fuel stop. 19 Celsius on the track. In the air, 18. So that's not bad at all, and that's why I think people made the decision not to change the tyres. But just the 2 tyre stop for the 2 VRS cars. Forget the stopwatch now. It's target acquired for VRS. Daniel Pasto now can do no more than just try and hit his marks. Stay nice and calm. If you were in the car now, and this was real world, and I was his team manager, I'd be telling him to knock the rear view mirror so that you can't see behind you. Don't drive to what's behind you. Focus forwards, hit your marks, and just try and get your lap times as good as possible. 56.1 last time around against the 55.6. It's an unequal fight, isn't it? And here's where those new left-hand side tyres are really paying dividends. Through the Bilstein curve, dropping downhill towards Alvan Borgman. All of this, you're leaning on the left-hand side of the car, and this is the speedy part, the quick part of the track. Through the chicane. And of course, coming onto the start-finish straight as well. Through the corner curve. Oh, there's real... The body language of the car shows that they are pushing very hard indeed through the final corner. The headlights visible. That's the sound of the Audi down towards the first corner. 5 to go. It's under 2 seconds. VS Competition still in third position, but 7 seconds back from the leader. In fairness, in the opening part of the lap, the Audi doesn't lose out so much, leaning on the right-hand side tyres through the Mercedes arena, and the right-hand side of the Porsche is just as worn as the right-hand side of the Audi through turn 5, using that cutout that the Nürburgring 24 hours uses. There's a little bit of extra circuit there. So this first half, I reckon, of the lap is pretty much even in terms of pace. It was a 56.2 last time around by our leader, Daniel Pastor. Second, 56.2 by the leader, 56.0 from second. So it wasn't a huge amount of time. But now, through the Schumacher S's, and as we come to the top of the hill, through Michelin and Bilstein, it's all the Porsche. This is Porsche territory. Watch that gap starts to come down. Was there a mistake there? No. Here it comes. Here's the gap coming down. Down to 1.5, goes back out to 2. Well, this has been a very good lap in. Oh, big sideways moment from the Porsche with 2 wheels up in the air. Doesn't matter how good your tyres and how new your tyres are, if they're not on the ground, you're not getting any grip. This is going to be a timed race. If you look at the top of the screen, 6 minutes to go. That's going to be about 3 laps. So we won't get the full laps in. They're working to the time limit. Gap hovering about 1 3/4 seconds. Time running out for VRS. Let's just check what is going on at the second place car. John Rogers still listed there, Mitchell de Leon. That's your driving team. Just started the car. Actually in that car at the moment. Nothing behind. See, here's where the car's got grip. Anything that is left-handers, coming up to these left-handers, so has to lean on the worn tyres through Michelin at the top of the hill, but now in the Bilstein. Gets on the power nice and early, just running a bit wide. He's pushing his luck, but he's got to, absolutely has to. He's all chicane coming, takes a huge amount of inside curve on the first bit. Have a watch, have a look at this. Airborne, you heard the revs rising on the flat 6. He's taking another couple of tenths out of the lead there in the last third of the lap. Runs a wee bit wide through Coca-Cola. This is the battle for the win. Looks like VS Competition, who've just gone across the line in third, are looking fairly secure. From Marla Racing in fourth. That's the 2 BMWs. Then the second of the VRS cars. A bit of a wiggle there by Coanda Sim Sport number 80. I'm fascinated by this battle. Been a great run, hasn't it, by our leader, Daniel Pastor. He took over from Ineza with used tyres. Tyres now that have been on 55 laps. Almost 2 hours. 156.2 against the 55.9 last time around. .5.5 laps now on the left-hand side tyres of this Porsche. 55 laps on all of the tyres of the car ahead. hasn't been able to crack the 1 second mark where you feel that there might be a little bit of aerodynamic advantage, but he's close now, just over a second. Get a good run through Ad van Borgen. Now let's see what the chicane is. I think maybe taking a little bit too much curb going into here. Nicely braking up onto two wheels for a moment. Really would take slightly more of the exit curb on the right-hand curb there. Oh, now traffic to play a part. And it's another Porsche. Down the field, it's the Sim Racing Academy GT500 143 car in 22nd position. Look at the time. This is going to be tight. Maybe one lap after this. It'll depend what the pace of this lap is like. So this could be it. Last chance saloon, possibly, or maybe one more lap at the end of this. It will all depend on the pace of this last lap. 55.8 from the leader, 54.8 from VRS. The best laps, 56.1, 55.9 last time around. Hovering around a second. On your feet, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, whether you're here in the exhibition space or watching on around the world. The race is right here, right now. 1 second. The strategic play from VRS, from the cars that were first and second, was to take an extra 13 seconds in the pit stop to change left side tyres. And for the first time, it's under a second, and I think we will get one more lap in. There's 30 seconds to go down towards the chicane, so there'll be one more tour of the Nürburgring that will decide first position. Here they come, the Coca-Cola curve, the penultimate time. It's going to be one more lap to decide our feature race of the weekend, the ADAC GT500. First and second, down towards the first corner. And now it's just under a second. What a way to round off the 2021 ADAC Sim Racing Expo here at the Nürburgring. The perfect endurance race. Two strategies, two different cars, two different handling cars as well, with the mid-engine V10, the flat six hung out the back behind the rear axle on the Porsche. Two very different philosophies of car manufacturer and way to go motor racing. This is endurance racing at its best. It's variety. And there's as much talent in the strategic calls from the teams and on the pit wall, whether that's virtual or real life, as there is behind the wheel. And it's played out now. Now it's just down to the drivers. They are on their last lap. It's half a second. Got to be the Vidal chicane for my money, because the Porsche should get a good run from about now onwards. Down through Bilstein. Got the draft. Ad van Borgen, will the Audi stay to the inside of the track? It's just a little bit too far back. It's going to be Renault Esports. It's going to be the Audi from the Porsche. I don't think there's enough to run to the line. Defensive into the final corner. Could be the over and under here. That might be a mistake going defensive early, but he's got to stand them up, got to break in the middle of the corner. Here comes the Porsche around the outside. There's dust thrown up. They come to the line. It's absolutely together. It's 0.06 at the line. 0.06 of a second, and the Audi wins it. The Audi has won it for Renault Sports from VRS Commander Sim Sports. Porsche in second. VS Competition will come in third. The width of a front bumper has decided the ADAC GT500 here this Sunday afternoon. My goodness. That was so close. Maybe, I think, a little mistake by Daniel to go so defensive into the final corner. But managed to take, I think, enough of the momentum away from the Porsche behind. It was close. It was very close. After all of that racing, all of that strategic thinking, all of those tactics, it comes down to 2 drivers and 1 corner and a dash to the line. Magnificent stuff. Just watching the rest of the cars come in. Marlow Racing in 4th, by the way. Coanda's 2nd car in 5th, 6th BS competition. Williams Esports in 7th. BMW Team GP, they had a great battle, those 2 cars, in 7th and 8th. Then Phoenix for Audi in 9th. Fire Sim Sport in 10th. And the Lamborghini in 11th. Let's take a look at the Heusinkveld replay. Just wonder if the Porsche could have went a little bit wide. Oh, it was very close, wasn't it, to putting wheels off. There's the line. It was a bit more than a bumper, but not much. Maybe a third of a car. 0.06 of a second, 6/100ths, has decided the winning margin. I'm going to have to go for a lie down in a darkened room after that. Brilliant stuff, and that's why we keep saying the racing is real. The racing is real. My very great thanks to Marina and the rest of the team, and Michael from Nürburgring TV as well, for making sure we've had all the information and the pictures in the Global Broadcast Centre here for Radio Show Limited. Just coming up short, the Porsche for VRS. The tactics nearly paid off, taking those left-hand side tyres. We'll compile the unofficial results. Just make sure when I say this, I've said unofficial, just in case there's any post-race penalties. But let's confirm then, as they crossed the line, here's how they finished in our feature event here at the Nürburgring ADAC SimRacing Expo for 2021, the ADAC GT500. Urano Esports by the, not exactly the smallest of margins, but pretty close to it. 0.06 of a second, a side-by-side grandstand finish to the finishing line on the Nürburgring Grand Prix track. I'm still shaking my head at that we got all of that racing, all of that brilliantly consistent driving from all of our competitors, and it came down to the dash for the line. So then, unofficial results, let's get them up for you. Urano wins it. Daniel Pastor and Louis Nasser. Great start from Louis. Daniel did his job at the end and some. Josh Rogers and Mitchell de Jong in the VRS car coming up 0.06 of a second. Julian Kessel drove on his own for BS, as did Alessandro Bico. Julian getting on the 3rd step of the box for BS Competition Red. Wonder if it might have been a bit different if they hadn't come together coming out the pits, because their pit strategy was very good. Tommy Usgaard and Martin Krunke couldn't make the 2 tyre stop work in 5th position, as well as their teammates. Rounding up the top 6, Ryan Barnveld and Niels Koch finishing that off for BS Competition Blue. Williams Esports, Dominic Starb and Moreno Saricha. Josh Thompson did the race on his own for BMW Team GP and had a battle with the Williams car, whoever was in it. Phoenix Racing Esport Red. Kevin Falk finished off the good work of Fabian Hochstadler at the beginning of the race. Fira SimSport back drove that on his own. That was your top 10. Just outside the top 10 at the number 11 position, Jens Horman and Oliver Ackermann for T3 Esports was the best of the 2 Lambos. Florian Baudin, Marvin Otterbach came through for Deutsche Permanent Race Union ahead of Andre Martin for Yas Heath driving on his own. Tim Heusinkveld, Jan Sentowski and Leonard Hartenberg came through. Bad qualifying for them. I think that car had pace, to be honest. RN Vision STS Sim Racing Team, Vasilios Belitsertis and Jan Marszalkowski came home in 15th. Riley Sim Racing, Fink in the GT Tyres car in 16th. Baylor Racing Team didn't really recover from the 8th place grid penalty, started 19th, finished 17th for Sven Haase and Luca Kita. Simon Amosa and Adrian Tommy were in the Hop Suisse IES Sim Racing Ferrari. Dennis Schaefer and Patrick Jasinski for Nürburgring Esports, powered by Ringversiert Sim Racing in 19th. In their Porsche, and the top 20 made up by the second of the WS Racing Esports cars. That was the GT Tyres car. Till Bermer and Moritz Peckel were a lap off the lead, as was everyone from 16th position down. Chris McCann drove well on his own for Digital Motorsport in the Red and White BMW in 21st. Sim Racing Academy lost a couple of laps. Nick Last and Johannes Bellitz. T3 Esports Talent Development, they got to the end, but a couple of laps off the lead for Sasha Rubel and Jonas Sandstedt. Rennie Penquit and Fabian Sherman up the field earlier on, but that number 19 car with a technical problem ended up behind the barriers. The RC Haltern, Phoenix Racing Esports Green and Team Racewerk Red all had problems to some form or another and did not get the full lap. 27 cars listed on our unofficial race results for the ADAC GT500. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we like endurance racing, a variety of cars, all in GT3, different manufacturers, different strengths and weakness, different tactical ways of going racing. And that was only 2 hours. And at the top of the standings and standing on the top step of the podium will be Arano Esports, who made their no tyre fuel only stop work for them, with Louis Nasser and Daniel Pasto, who brought the car home at the end, doing the job for them in that very good-looking dark red number 90 Arano R8. I'll take a deep breath now and say thank you to everyone who's made this work. When we come back, Melly will have the top 3 teams in the exhibition space and make the presentations for our GT500, the ADAC GT500 feature race this Sunday afternoon. From John Hindhoff and from Nick Damon, who was with me Friday and yesterday. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you either at a racetrack or online sometime soon from the Radio Show Limited network of channels. Great racing. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Bye-bye.
we put out the fire. With every breath I breathe you out. We just can't take it any higher. It's only fair we let each other go without. Oh, this is hard to admit. I don't long for your kiss, and I know you don't care. Oh, what we had was a bliss, but it's falling to bits. All in this is it. I tell these ones, we both knew it shouldn't have hurt this much. I don't want it to see it, but we've lost touch. Time to give up. Maybe we just wanted it too much. I don't want it to see it, but we've lost touch. My heart can't take it any longer. This careless love is getting old. Let's face it, we're not getting younger. If all is said and done, it's time we let it go. Oh, this is hard to admit. I don't long for your kiss, and I know you don't care. Oh, what we had was a bliss, but it's falling to bits. All in this is it. I tell these ones, we both knew it shouldn't have hurt this much. I don't want it to see
everyone, and welcome back here for the very first prize giving on the ADAC SimRacing Expo 2021, powered by Quavana. Third day, last prize giving. Danny, I'm not as enthusiastic as before because I'm quite sad, actually.
For what?
Because it's going to be over.
Yeah, but we saved the best for last.
That's actually very true. And it was a really, really great race as well, with a little twist at the end, Joe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, in the very last minutes, things were just going over and under, and I'm going to be surprised who will be the ones who are going to step up here and take these amazing trophies.
I mean,
and checks.
And the checks as well, of course. I mean, the trophies are beautiful. There's nothing more to add. But I want to take a second and want to send a huge shout out to our friends in London, Radio Show Limited, for carrying us through the weekend and covering the races for us. Thank you so much for the great commentary, for the great insights and everything you did for us throughout the weekend. So round of applause for the guys sitting in London and yeah, having our backs when it comes to covering the race action. And I mean, the ADAC Digital GT500 has come to an end.
Exactly.
And Danny, if you have to wrap up the race a little, how did it go? How was it for you?
It was quite interesting to see how the pace unfolds from the different teams, because the race yesterday was quite intense, and VS Competition was able to split the Porsche Duo at the front, and I didn't anticipate that the race will be so different from the people showing up at the leaderboard, but I like surprises, and I think the winners really deserved the trophy, the check, and the honor from all the teams here, giving them the respect of their work, and yeah, amazing.
Absolutely, Joe. How was it for you?
Absolutely fantastic, and it's really cool to have a race format where you can actually apply different strategies, and that will make a difference in the outcome of the race. And obviously we saw here different manufacturers, different strategies, and yeah, very close end with an, let's say, unexpected ending.
All right, then. I'd say, guys, let's get our podium here up on stage. Shall we?
Let's go.
Of course. I grabbed the check as you...
Of course, go and collect the checks. That's a very good idea. The trophies are right here. And I'm very, very excited to call up on stage, placing third in the ADAC Digital GT500, Mahle Racing Team. Congratulations. Guys, very well done.
Well done.
Well done. Very well done.
Great race.
Well done.
Great race.
Great race. All right, so this is your check. Oh no, don't cover it for the people. Exactly. So, guys, this is your second Mahle Racing Team. All right, then we need to give out another check, actually, for a second placing team here in the ADAC Digital GT500. So, ladies and gentlemen, everybody, please put your hands together for BS Competition Red.
Glückwunsch. Sehr gut.
Congrats.
Gratulation. Sehr gut. All right, this is your check. There we go.
Boss is taking the check, right?
Cheers, of course. And the trophy. And ladies and gentlemen, once again, please put your hands together for BS Competition Red. Placing second here at the ADAC Digital GT500. And of course, we're missing a place. We're missing our champions, the champions of the ADAC Digital GT500. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody, please, a huge round of applause for your champions, Urana Sports. Very well done.
Congrats.
Now I'm jumping out of the picture so you can actually enjoy. Just turn around, let the audience take part in the handshaking and trophy giving and check receiving. Ladies and gentlemen, Urana Esports! And let's start our interviews here, I'd say, with our champions first. So how's it going? lifting a nice trophy, receiving a beautiful check. It's on. Just keep on talking.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm really speechless. Like, we didn't expect this, and yeah, Danny did a fantastic job in the first stint, saving fuel, saving tires, and I just had to finish us off, push as fast as I can, and yeah, I was really nervous in the end. Josh did a great job to come back, and yeah, but it was enough.
It was enough, exactly. It was enough for you to lift the trophy, to call yourselves the champions of the ADAC Digital GT500 here on the Expo 2021. And I mean, how was it for you guys, finally being at an offline event again?
Sorry, again.
How was it for you, with audience, having people around you, driving here on site and not at the comfort in your home?
Oh, it was amazing. Like, our team was really cheering for us, and also other people, and the atmosphere was great. And you feel that as a driver when you're driving, and yeah, it motivates you.
Yeah, so you prepared quite well because you had your own rig here and so on. Oh, okay. So you prepared quite well. You had your own rig here, so you made everything comfortable. How was it the preparation before the race? You knew that you were driving the Nürburgring, and did you pull up the strategy in the practice, or was it experimental?
It was an experiment, so yeah, we didn't know what to happen, and you also don't know about the rubber levels on the server. So yeah, we just were looking what the others were doing, and yeah, copying that.
So what was then the compromise for your setup? You just straight targeted lap times, or was it mind that you need to make a conservative?
I don't answer the last time. Sorry.
Did you make a conservative approach to the setup, or like more aggressively just for the lap time? Because I think it was quite clear that you really saved tires like a lot. And
yeah, exactly. The setup was pretty safe. We are just looking for the tires. We know that the Audi was good on the long run, so we just focused on pure balance, not being too aggressive.
Well, that's quite nice and paid off, right? So,
Yeah.
do you have any questions?
Yeah. So obviously a lot of pressure in the last minutes of the race. How did you all experience that? It was really close. Was everybody sweaty, and how was it?
It was great. It was great. We really enjoyed the race, and we've had a really great time with the others. Everyone was cheering for us, and we've had a really great time.
Perfect. What are you going to do with the money? What are you going to do with the money?
I've got no idea, to be honest. We'll have to see.
All right.
But yes, BS Competition Red, how did things go for you? I mean, finishing with a brilliant second place here at the SimRacing Expo. How do you guys feel?
Obviously, it feels good to be on the podium here, but it was a rough way here, I would have to say, because in the start wasn't so great. We dropped back to 5th, and then we're doing a lot of fuel saving in the first stint, so to get a better position for the second stint, and after the pits, we knew we were in a good position and just had to manage until the end.
That's like when you reach that situation where you only have to manage the race. Is it more comfortable, or do you prefer like the fighting and the action-packed segments of the race?
Obviously, if you can manage and have a safer race, let's say, it's always nicer, I think.
How do you keep the nerves?
A lot of racing, I think. Nothing else. You have to just adapt to every situation and can't make mistakes.
All right then, and it worked out for you greatly. Ladies and gentlemen, BS Competition Red finishing second here at the GT500. And now Mali Esports. Guys, you also did fantastic, finishing third here at the Expo. How was it for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's the first time for me this in LAN event, and it's amazing. The race was very crazy. Happened whole, and yeah, I'm happy with me, with my teammates, with the team, and I want to say thank you, William Esports, for racing for my racing team.
Perfect. Thank you so much, guys. This is your applause, our podium of the ADAC Digital GT500, and of course, your champions, Urano Esports. Come a bit closer, everyone, for a nice picture together. And then it is almost time. I mean, why the guys are taking pictures over there? We can just stand over here and have a little chat, because, I mean, that was the third day of the ADAC SimRacing Expo, and therefore pretty much the last day as well. So on one hand, I'm very, very happy. I'm very sad to be leaving, but I'm really, really happy on what a great weekend we had. How's it with you guys?
I'll let you talk first.
Yeah, I feel absolutely the same. It was a great experience to be here. So many new impressions, great exhibitors, great competition. I mean, all the races we had were really close. And I think this really was the highlight, and now it's a wrap-up. So yeah, it's for me, it's like for you. I'm a bit sad that it's over, but I'm also happy that everything went well and that we had a really, really great show.
Yes, indeed, that we had. And I hope you guys at home enjoyed it as much as we did. And sadly, we actually have to do it. We have to say goodbye. But there's always a next year. So guys, we're really happy to have you here as our audience. And of course, you guys at home, thank you so, so much for being a part of our show too, by tuning in. And Joe, Danny, you guys were fantastic. Thank you so, so much with helping me out when it comes to sim racing or motorsports knowledge. It was fantastic. Thank you.
Couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, you guys. But well, that's it from us. So ladies and gentlemen, everybody, take good care, and I hope to see you again sometime soon. My name is Melek Melibalgung. This is Danny Juza, and this is Johannes Stuck. And yes, that's it. That was ADAC SimRacing Expo 2021 powered by Covana, and I hope to see you next year. Take care.